wants to succeed in the future is going to have to learn to be a storyteller. Last fall semester, several of my writing students came to me for help with their personal essay questions for their transfer applications to universities. Almost all of them had the same problems at the start, which was they were basically just a dry, boring restatement of everything that the evaluators could read on their CV. This happens all the time with applications, including job applications. People don't know that what they actually need to do is tell their story. Whether you're applying for a job, starting your own business, or trying to get a social movement off the ground, storytelling is the key skill you'll need. The reason for this is that human beings are storytelling animals. It's part of how we evolved. Storytelling came about because we used it as a tool to connect with and communicate important information to one another. Now that we've moved to an online reality, we need storytelling more than ever. The creator economy has absolutely exploded in the last 10 years. And the people who are successful at creating content online are the ones who can use the principles of storytelling to hook their audience, share their core message, and use examples and illustrations that resonate with people. At the end of the day, storytelling is about connecting with other humans. So this is also a really important skill to develop because humans are feeling more disconnected than ever. I'll give you an example. I belong to an online group for women who live in the Bay Area in California. The group is meant to connect people with similar interests and to provide a space to create events to make new friends. The goal is to move from the online space to hanging out in real life. But here's what I see all the time. People who post vague, unspecific posts about how they just moved to the Bay Area and they love coffee and hiking. I've lived in the Bay Area for a significant portion of my life, and let me tell you, liking coffee and going for hikes doesn't make you stand out. I was talking about this with my friend who's an entrepreneur because I was giving her feedback on her own company's storytelling message. She's a part of the group too, and she shared my frustration because those posts are really giving you nothing to work from. They don't tell a story, and therefore they don't get very much engagement, and they probably don't ever translate to any in real life hangs. The secret to translating an online connection to a real life one is in the power of storytelling. Think about those boring dating app conversations where no one says anything, or even YouTube videos where it's not really clear what the person is talking about. Or just think about any person that as soon as they start talking, you tune them out. It's probably because they haven't learned about the power of storytelling. There is an entire universe of how to apply storytelling principles to your creative goals. And if you'd like my guide for how to get started with that, then check out the link in the description below and you can download that free resource. But for today, I just want to talk about 3 key principles from storytelling. Number 1, you have to know what is your core message. What is the main thing that you want to get across, whether that is to be persuasive or to inform your audience, or even just to entertain if you want to make a funny TikTok? Decide on what is your big why. What is the one thing that you want your audience to take away from your story? My big why for creating this video is to convince my audience that the principles of storytelling are the secret to your success. Building your audience and connecting with them is the new form of resume in the 21st century. But you don't have to be so ambitious as to want to be a creator. Even if what you're looking for is a traditional 9-to-5 kind of job, storytelling can help you get that job and then succeed in it by using its principles to communicate effectively with your coworkers about projects and even things like data analysis when it comes to the metrics that your company uses to measure their progress. But a lot of people want to do their own thing, whether that's their creative goals or perhaps entrepreneurial, like they want to start their own business. Good writing is going to be the foundation. You need good writing to understand what is your big why, as Simon Sinek talks about in his book, Start With Why. You'll also need it to convey your expertise, which is how you're going to get more people to listen to what you have to say. And you'll need it for marketing, especially if you want to market ethically. You can use the principles of storytelling to avoid having to use any kind of sneaky persuasion techniques. You can connect with people through the power of storytelling and find your right audience. So after you've identified your big why or your core message that you want to communicate through storytelling, you have to find a way to hook your audience in. Paint a picture in the mind of your audience. Help them see the vision of the world that you have in mind. And finally, good stories have lots of twists and turns. It's not a story if it doesn't have plot. So think about the kinds of examples and illustrations that you want to include when you're communicating to your audience. I used the example earlier of my friend who's an entrepreneur and how we both feel frustrated in this online group where people just don't know how to tell a good story about themselves. But the thing is, we actually met on that very same group. I put up a post that included my hook, which was the idea of a weekly coffee shop meetup for other entrepreneurs in my city. In that post, I shared my core message, which was that I was looking to connect with other creators and small business owners because I like the accountability of sitting in a coffee shop working across from one another. And being a solopreneur can sometimes be a little bit lonesome, and I wanted to connect with other people in the same boat. I put in some specific details and I invited anybody who was interested to come join me that Friday. My new friend saw my post and thought, this is exactly who I'm looking for. And as a result, I've got an awesome new friend. I honestly consider it one of my greatest successes because I took something that I learned about, the principles of storytelling, and I applied it to something that was a meaningful goal in my life, which was to make some new friends in my new city. Everything you want to do in your life can be improved by leaning into the power of storytelling. Social movements depend on storytelling for great change. Stories can be used to convince people of a vision for the future. And stories can set you on the path to building the life that you love. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about how to apply the principles of storytelling to your own creative life, then make sure to subscribe and leave me a comment below with the title of your creative story.